This exploration is brought to you by Blinkist, the revolutionary book summary platform. Click the link below to unlock your complimentary 7-day trial, plus a generous 40% discount on premium access. There's nothing left to do. The voice whispers with resigned clarity. I'm starting to accept this truth. My entire existence has been spent pushing against this realization, telling myself, Vladimir, think logically, you haven't exhausted every possibility yet. So I continued fighting. Yet here we stand again, caught in the eternal loop. Samuel Beckett stands as literature's master of shadows, perhaps the most enigmatic, unsettling, and revolutionary dramatist the 20th century produced. His international recognition stems partly from his genius for bewildering and challenging audiences. His creative universe drips with surreal absurdity while swimming in the darkest corners of human comedy. Beneath this theatrical maze, however, lies something profoundly moving and brutally truthful. Beckett places humanity's deepest struggles front and center, illuminating them with unflinching honesty so we might observe, laugh, weep, and ultimately embrace our shared condition. Born into an Irish family in 1906, young Beckett demonstrated exceptional promise, both academically and athletically, particularly excelling at cricket. By 1927, he had claimed the top position in his graduating class at Trinity College Dublin, earning the institution's highest honor, the gold medal. His academic triumph opened doors to a prestigious 2-year fellowship in Paris, where he planned to hone his writing craft, teach, and eventually return to Dublin as a university lecturer. During his Parisian sojourn, fate introduced him to the legendary James Joyce, an encounter that would fundamentally reshape Beckett's artistic trajectory. However, upon returning to Dublin to fulfill his teaching obligations, Beckett discovered academia wasn't his calling. He abandoned his position after a brief stint, finding himself deeply uncomfortable instructing others in subjects he questioned himself. This pivotal moment marked his complete dedication to the writing life. His early career became a masterclass in persistence through rejection. His debut novel never found a publisher, while his second work, Murphy, endured 40 rejections before finally securing publication. Even then, commercial success remained elusive, leaving Beckett virtually unknown as he approached his 30s. Throughout these challenging years, Beckett battled severe depression and anxiety, spending considerable time in psychoanalysis. The convergence of his mental struggles, professional setbacks, and extraordinary intellectual capacity would later crystallize into his mature work, a literary body that powerfully expressed themes of failure, meaninglessness, absurdity, ignorance, pessimism, and psychological complexity. Beckett's artistic journey divides naturally into 2 distinct phases, before and after World War II. His pre-war output, including works like Proust, More Pricks Than Kicks, and Murphy, reflected a more scholarly, intellectually confident approach, despite his relative obscurity. The war's aftermath, however, triggered a dramatic transformation in his artistic voice. His post-war writing became increasingly fragmented, humble, and condensed. Between approximately 1946 and 1960, Beckett experienced an unprecedented creative surge, marked by newfound artistic clarity and intellectual sophistication. This period of intense productivity culminated in his career-defining breakthrough, Waiting for Godot premiered in 1952, to immediate acclaim, achieving international recognition precisely because it defied every theatrical convention, confusing and frustrating audiences worldwide. The play presents 2 men, Estragon and Vladimir, meeting beside a solitary tree on an empty country road. Estragon reveals he spent the previous night being attacked by unknown assailants in a ditch. From this stark beginning, they settle into an endless vigil, waiting for someone called Godot. Their conversations meander through debates about their situation. When will Godot arrive? Why are they waiting? How long have they been waiting? Are they even in the correct location at the proper time? They've never encountered Godot, and remain uncertain they ever will. Eventually, 2 additional characters appear, Lucky, a slave, and Pozzo, his master. Later, a boy arrives claiming to represent Godot, informing our protagonists that Godot won't appear that evening. Yet Estragon and Vladimir persist in their waiting. Regardless of circumstances, they continue their vigil. Let's leave, one suggests. We cannot, comes the reply. Why not? We're waiting for Godot. Spoiler alert, Godot never materializes. Nothing advances, no genuine plot unfolds. Time becomes meaningless. Everything cycles endlessly and futilely. Estragon and Vladimir remain trapped in their hopeless, absurd predicament, filling hours with pointless questions and meaningless activities. Waiting for Godot emerged from a specific moment in Western civilization. Following World War II's devastation, humanity struggled to discover meaning while confronting incomprehensible destruction and cruelty committed by their own species. How does one maintain purpose and create art when so much blood stains humanity's collective hands? How do artists respond when religious beliefs, social structures, and human significance face such thorough questioning? Drawing inspiration from existentialism and absurdism, particularly French philosopher Albert Camus and his work, The Myth of Sisyphus, a new artistic movement called the Theatre of the Absurd emerged from civilization's rubble. Beckett became this movement's leading voice. The Theatre of the Absurd portrayed human existence as fundamentally purposeless. It viewed humanity's struggle against the universe in search of meaning as essentially futile and absurd. Humans become puppets controlled by forces beyond their understanding. Religious beliefs prove false, political systems fail, meaning becomes illusory. Reflecting these concepts, Waiting for Godot leaves meaning, objectives, and plot deliberately undefined, unstructured, and unresolved. Multiple interpretations exist, but what else remains undefined, unstructured, and unresolved? What else resembles Godot and never arrives? The play's structure and format, particularly within the absurdist context, perhaps mirrors what it attempts to convey thematically about existence itself. Following both literal destruction from war and figurative decay of religious and metaphysical foundations, what are Estragon and Vladimir except all humanity awakening to its absurd, lost condition, waiting, longing, incapable and undeserving of salvation? All humanity is us, whether we accept it or not, Vladimir declares. Like Vladimir and Estragon, audiences can only wait awkwardly throughout the performance, hoping for resolution that never arrives, uncertain whether to laugh or cry. This condition extends beyond the theater into every moment outside it. Our gods, or Godot, aren't coming. We were abandoned at the tree of knowledge, left waiting for nothing, confused about purpose, location, and action. So what do? We labor, we enslave others for labor. We wander aimlessly, thinking and arguing with ourselves, against ourselves. We desire more. We sin more. We wait. Perhaps Godot needn't represent God specifically, but rather the fundamental object of longing or salvation. Maybe Vladimir represents humanity, while Estragon personifies desire and yearning. Or perhaps they embody two aspects of mankind's collective mind. As long as they have each other, they continue existing and waiting, convincing themselves there's something to do and wait for. When I consider it, Vladimir tells Estragon, all these years, without me, where would you be? You'd be nothing more than a small pile of bones at this very moment, no doubt about it. Sometimes I wonder if we'd be better off separating. Later, Estragon responds to Vladimir, as humans, we crave the sensation of having discovered the thing, truth, salvation, peace of mind, satisfaction, or resolution to longing itself. But this isn't in our nature, it's not written in our script, so it never arrives, and we keep starting over, asking more foolish questions, performing more meaningless tasks. Don't argue, we're bored to death. There's no denying it. Good, a distraction appears, and what do? We waste it. Come, let's get to work. In an instant, everything will vanish, and we'll be alone once more in the midst of nothingness. Vladimir continues. Naturally, these represent just interpretations. The absence of clear meaning in Waiting for Godot opens it to endless analysis, particularly since Beckett refused to confirm or deny any theories about his work during his lifetime. The only thing I'm certain of is that they're wearing bowler hats, Beckett said when discussing the play. The key word in my plays is perhaps he stated on another occasion. Following Waiting for Godot, Beckett produced several additional plays and literary works, most notably Endgame, Happy Days, Play, and Not I. Each work explores similar absurdist themes: humanity trapped, confused, tormented, ignorant, yet somehow still hopeful. In Endgame, characters inhabit an abandoned house in a post-apocalyptic landscape, waiting for some undefined conclusion. In Happy Days, a woman cheerfully maintains her daily routine while buried in sand. In Play, characters are confined to urns, spending their remaining time in a purgatory-like state, discussing their trivial romantic entanglements. Not I features solely an illuminated mouth, surrounded by black void, the character refusing to acknowledge their experiences. In 1969, Beckett received the Nobel Prize in Literature for his writing, which, in new forms for the novel and drama, in the destitution of modern man, acquires its elevation. Certainly, his work isn't universally appealing. It's bleak, confusing, and potentially frustrating. But for those it reaches, it's honest. It's humorous. It brings existence's absurd experience onto stage and page, where we can witness it in all its terrible magnificence. Perhaps ultimately, we'll spend our entire lives waiting for answers that never come. But while we wait, Beckett reminds us we can create art, we can connect through struggle, we can laugh at it, we can transform boredom, absurdity, and misery into their opposites: intrigue, creativity, and beauty. In Vladimir's words, "At this place, at this moment in time, all mankind is us, whether we like it or not. Let us make the most of it before it's too late. Let us represent worthily, for once the foul brood, to which cruel fate consigned us." What do you say? It's true that when, with folded arms, we weigh the pros and cons, we are no less a credit to our species. The tiger bounds to aid his conjurers, without the slightest reflection, or else he slinks away into the thicket depths. But that's not the question. What are we doing here? That is the question. And we are blessed in this, that we happen to know the answer. Yes, in the immense confusion, one thing alone is clear: we are waiting for Godot to come. Teddy possesses an insatiable appetite for learning about history, politics, and philosophy. He finds these subjects both fascinating and practical for navigating society's often unscrupulous nature. His challenge lies in frequently encountering books that disappoint. Either they're poorly written, or they're excellent, but difficult to digest or remember. While discussing a recently read book, How the World Really Works, with his friend Ryan, Teddy mentions this frustration. "Wait, check this out," Ryan says, pulling out his phone. "It's an app I discovered, called Blinkist. You can read or listen to summaries and key insights from over 6,600 non-fiction books and podcasts. Each takes about 15 minutes. It even includes How the World Really Works." Ryan shows Teddy his phone, revealing insights they'd just been discussing: current energy conditions, food production, globalization, and the importance of understanding how the world operates when most people simply accept what they're told. Teddy downloads Blinkist immediately. Now he can easily explore countless titles he'd been considering, determine which seem most relevant, prepare himself for books he plans to read, and gain and retain important insights from books generally. Best of all, through Blinkist's feature called Blinkist Spaces, whenever Teddy discovers a book he loves, he can effortlessly share it with Ryan, and Ryan reciprocates, creating a continuous cycle of learning, progress, and discovery. You can experience the same transformation and receive 40% off Blinkist's annual premium membership, plus a 7-day free trial by using my link in the description. As always, thank you tremendously for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.